From cutting out the middleman and making people their own banks, to taking control of your assets on secure wallets, this is how crypto changed the world. It would be pretty hard to get into crypto without talking about what started it all. Let's first talk about Bitcoin. Created by the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto, the most important aspect of Bitcoin, it's completely decentralized. When Satoshi released his white paper for Bitcoin, it was a proposed method of sending money from person to person, online, without anyone in the middle. But what does that mean? Generally speaking, there's no central bank or payment processing company that verifies the exchange. It's all done on the blockchain. Without getting really wordy, it basically means everyone else saw two people exchange money, so it really happened. But what if they don't all agree? That's coming up a bit later. The important bit in all this is that since there are no banks or companies that are involved in money changing hands, the cost to send funds from person to person is much cheaper, much faster, and as long as the funds exist, they can be exchanged at any time as long as you have the keys. So how has this changed the world? Well, more and more people are wiring money back and forth across borders. And those middlemen that handle currency exchange and banking are making a fortune off of it. Even more than that, those transfers are government regulated, and at any point, that money can be frozen by any of the many hands that touch it going from point A in one country to point B in the other. With Bitcoin, it goes from person A directly to person B and can never be frozen once it's been verified by the blockchain. The most critical aspect of this, that exchange was completely borderless. If person A was 2 feet or 10,000 miles away from person B, it would have taken the same exact amount of time, which usually ranges from a few seconds to a few hours, depending on how much you spent to confirm the transaction. Yes, you can pay whatever price you want to the miners to verify your transaction. And obviously, if you pay more, your exchange is prioritized. But the speed of Bitcoin transactions has sped up tremendously, and costs have gone down to almost nothing with a network called Lightning, and it's what has made trading and transacting with Bitcoin possible in everyday scenarios. All it takes to use is a phone and a Lightning wallet. And if you want to buy something from a store or just send coins to a buddy to split a pizza, all you have to do is scan their QR code, enter how much you want to pay, and boom! They have the Bitcoin nearly instantly. This is why we have an entire nation adopting the crypto asset and making it a legal tender. That's right, we're talking about crypto as currency. El Salvador made world history when it adopted Bitcoin as legal tender in 2021.
Adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender, it's a good thing for our country. And if you adopt...
Since then, the results have been mixed. Even though businesses are required to accept Bitcoin, obviously not all vendors have the setup to do so. Some can't afford it. Others see it as completely unnecessary or cumbersome. Even though the government of El Salvador has created some incentives to get their people signed up, only about half have made a Bitcoin wallet for trading. And after getting their free Bitcoin from creating the wallet, most have stopped using it entirely. The most active base of users for the platform are the ones they weren't actually targeting: young, rich, well-off males. The idea of Bitcoin in a country like El Salvador is sound, as most of their citizens do not have bank accounts, and those that do, don't use mobile banking apps. So on paper, Bitcoin should be able to bridge that gap and allow those with no bank accounts to take a huge leap into the digital age. Bitcoin itself saw massive losses since its adoption in El Salvador. From $42,000 per Bitcoin in September of 2021 to dipping as low as $16,500 per Bitcoin in December of 2022. This meant the Bitcoin investors bought in 2021 was worth less than half the value of what it was in 2022. Pair that with huge ATM fees to go from US dollars to Bitcoin. And the demographic they were looking to help rise up with the new currency has almost all but abandoned it for everyday transactions. Nevertheless, some El Salvadorians have found Bitcoin useful to transfer money into the country. Every year, over $6 billion worth of wire transfers are sent to the South American nation. And the cost of those traditional wire transfers add up fast. So instead of using Western Union, they use Bitcoin to cross the border and cash out using Bitcoin ATMs. Other than sending money from abroad, Bitcoin still has yet to see much widespread use despite signs everywhere, and much of it comes down to ease of use and technical glitches. While it may not be easy to use, just how hard is it to steal? Let's get into crypto security. At the most basic and fundamental level, crypto, namely Bitcoin, is almost impossible to crack. The reason for this is how transactions are made. Remember our example about everyone seeing the money exchange hands? Bitcoin uses proof of work and nodes to confirm who owns what and where. Basically, what this means is it takes 51% of the computers on the network to agree you own the Bitcoin in your wallet. And with Bitcoin being spread across hundreds of millions of computers across the entire globe, getting more than 51% to agree you don't own what is in your wallet is as close to impossible as it gets. It would take more time and money to perform the theft than what it was actually worth in the first place. But Bitcoin has certainly been stolen. And it wasn't only an attack on the network. So what about FTX and the news about crypto hackers? How did they steal the coins from their wallets? Well, they didn't. Sure, their money is certainly gone, but the money was either never in their wallet in the first place, or their credentials were leaked from a crypto exchange where they bought the coins. They're saying within the crypto community, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. The vast majority of crypto bought or sold isn't between users, it happens in a marketplace. You know, one of those apps you sign into with a username and password, put your debit card info into, and buy your crypto. One huge problem, though, that isn't your Bitcoin, or your Cardano, or your Dogecoin. Just yet. Because when it's purchased on a marketplace, it's still in their wallet until you've transferred it out. And if your login info is compromised, or they decide to freeze it or otherwise not give it to you, you're simply out of luck. That's why seasoned users and owners of crypto will advise you only to store crypto you are buying or selling immediately on the marketplace. And all the rest you should set up and transfer to your own wallet. These wallets generate your keys. There are hot wallets, digital wallets, cold wallets, or wallets that have a physical form. While all are technically digital, you need to input a PIN into the physical wallet in order to access it. So while crypto is designed with incredibly efficient security in mind, in the end, users not using it as intended is what causes most thefts or security breaches. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was how crypto changed the world.